Hello viewers and welcome to another video. And I haven't uploaded in a while, but I'm going to start uploading again. Now it's spring break, so I have a lot more time. I want to give an update on my friend who's a teacher, and we all go through similar situations. Now he's doing a lot better now since he's out of that last school he worked at. Worst school ever. Never seen a school that bad, and it's still to this day. Even in his new job has issues, but it's still not as bad as his last job. That last job, like, he still had PTSD. There's nothing that bad. Even when I close my eyes, I'm remembering those times of how he dreaded that. That school broke his heart. But he can't feel anymore because of that. Like anything that he gets thrown at him just bounces off because that school destroyed his soul. It's Grim Reaper right there, man. Anyway, even his new job, the issues in the new job just bounce off because he knows, like, it's not that bad compared to the last one. And looking at those schools, he could see why charter schools are so bad. Charter schools are so bad because they're under so much pressure to hit these bullet points, graduation rates, attendance, state scores, so that they don't lose their charter. And that's exactly what's happening in his new job. They might lose their charter. They're good at appealing and stuff like that, but there's a chance that they might still lose. And if that happens, they're going to lay off all the teachers from that charter. But besides that, I'll tell you guys in the future. Anyway, so when I heard that, it was like, why are they closing down the charter for this school? At this school, it was a lot better than the last school he worked at, because the last school would falsify their grades. It sinks in now. That last school, some students will never show up. The office people will call the teacher and tell him, send the work of those students to the office so he can complete it because they're on campus. Never seen those students at all the whole semester. The work comes back nearly 100%, and they want that teacher to put that grade in. And when that happens, that student graduates. Was that student there? He'll never know. But that's just fishy to me. And that's why the graduation rates are so high. So do you want to instill that kind of work ethic to your students, to your kids, where they don't have to show up to work at all and get paid? Because that's what that school did. But this school, I would say, even though this school is still kind of lacking, mainly because of the grading for equity. Like if that school raised the standards, I'm confident that those students in that school could step up. But because of that, we have low test scores and stuff like that. And about the test scores, they have to do like the iReady and things. And most students don't take that seriously, but that's a big thing. You guys really have to take that seriously because it shows how you compare to the state. And when my friend was working there, he always told the students, those tests mean a lot. So if you are a student watching, please try an iReady because it is one of the points that charter schools have to work on. But the thing is, with that new school he works at, all that information they give is true. The attendance rates, graduation rates, and even though it might be lower compared to other schools in the state, it's true. So why the system they have now encourages charter schools to lie so they can stay afloat. And when they lie, the students suffer. But that new job he works at, that information is not a lie. And you know what happened? When they don't lie, they get penalized for it. Instead of the district trying to help that charter bring them up because, we say all this information is true, they say, we want it back. Like, how are you guys going to do better? Think about that. Because even though that is low, it did show growth. So it shows that they're steadily getting better and better and better. But instead you said, right now it doesn't compare, so we got to take it out. Like, no, why you try to take their credit? The fact is, the district wants their school back because it used to be part of the district. And they don't want the charter to have it anymore. And they see this as a perfect time to take it back. So my teacher faces a layoff if they lose a district. But even then, the the dark people, the people who fall on the dark side. It's so easy for the administrators to fall on the dark side because of all this pressure they have, you know, all these numbers that they have to fulfill. And that's one of the things that doesn't make me want to be an administrator, because I know if I be an administrator, I could change this if I get my credential for administration. But I feel like after witnessing so much evil from these administrators, that I will probably fall on the dark side, and I can't let that happen, because most of these administrators do. Because what administrators are known for is throwing teachers under the bus. And teachers are like one of the most important people in the school setting, because they're in the trenches with the students. They teach the students. The administrators, all they do is just sit in their office, pretend they know what they're doing. And this school he works at, 5 vice principals, 2 regular principals, 7 administrators. Do we need that much? No, I've never seen a school that had that many. 2 principals? When have I ever seen a school with 2 principals? When I was in high school, 1 principal, 2 vice principals. That honestly seems enough. Maybe you could add another 3rd. But 5? You really need 5? 3 is pushing. 3 vice principals is pushing it. But 5? That's just wasting money right there. And about money, so my friend had a meeting about money, saying that, oh, if we cut budgets and people like that, we're still going to be like $300,000 in debt. So we have to get rid of 12 teachers to try to make that 12 teachers. And then they said, oh, we might get rid of some administrators, but they not give us not one number of how many administrators are going to leave. And you think about it, every one of those 7 administrators make 6 figures, 100K minimum. Some probably make 150,000. Probably the principals, honestly. But instead of just getting rid of like 1 or 2, honestly, if you got rid of like 3 administrators, you have it. But I guess two vice principals can't handle evaluating like 100 teachers when teachers have to evaluate like hundreds of students. They need 5 vice principals to evaluate 100 teachers. When we teachers have classes, every assignment, every week, they can't give one evaluation system to one student, a few teachers. They need 5 people to do it. That's a waste of money right there. And rather than laying off any of the administrators, they decided to take down 12 teachers, the people who are in the trenches. And you know what happens when that happens? When they lay off teachers, students lose certain programs. The students are hurting the most. The administrators are there pretending they're doing something when they're not doing anything for the students. The teachers are the backbone, but yet they throw the teachers under the bus. After they failed the system, the school lost money because the students did not show up to school. The attendance. That's what happened. And when my friend taught there, is still teaching there, he noticed he has some classes. It's called his advisory class. A roster full of like 30 students, and only like 4 students show up every day. And you know what the administration does? Nothing. They say, oh, teachers call home. They tell the teachers to call home, and then you're getting rid of the teachers. And what are you guys doing, huh? Oh, we go home, we visit. How is that working? It's not working, and you guys keep doing it, acting like it's gonna work. If it didn't work the first time, it's not gonna work the second time. Change the system. You guys are the administrators, the leaders. You guys are supposed to be perfect, and you guys continue to do the system that doesn't work, and then lay off the teachers. And while the administrators are scot-free, 7 administrators, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 700,000 minimum. Probably $1 million, honestly. $1 million paid to these administrators. And if you just got rid of like 2 and get rid of one of the principals is a complete buffoon. I'm chill with my friend is chill with the other one. But the other one is a complete buffoon. And this is probably why they ran into the ground. If you just got rid of that principal and maybe like 1 or 2, then you would have solved your problem. But instead, the system you guys messed up in, you're dragging the teachers under the mud. And that's what happened. So my friend was part of that list of the students, of the 12 teachers getting laid off. And you know, he teaches music. And that's clearly retaliation from that buffoon principal that does not know what they do. And you could tell. Like, that principal is a new principal. And you could clearly tell that they don't know how to run things. And that's why whenever I sit on an interview where I have to get the administrator, I need someone who has experience, because this is exactly what happened. $300,000 in debt, laying off teachers. While administrators stay there because they'd be like, oh, let's just get rid of them so we can stay here. That's exactly what they're doing. Administrators are saving themselves for the mistakes they did for not having the attendance down. And I'm not blaming the students. Like, if I was a student there and I know if I don't have to go to a class and I can still graduate, then I'm not going to go in the class. That's the administrator's fault. And they're dragging the teachers in the mud. Anyway, my friend is there, and there's retaliation because from all the 12 teachers they listed, his was the only music and art class there. And the thing about that is Prop 28. It's not a money thing, because Prop 28 says that it will pay 80% of the teacher's salary to hire them. So by firing him, let's say that teachers make $70K a year. If you fire that teacher, lay him off, you only save him $15,000. Like, that's not a lot for a school. Like, that's like one student coming to class every day. Like, that's not going to put a dent in that $300,000. Instead, if you fire an administrator, you probably get rid of half that $300,000 versus that $15,000 for a music teacher. But that music teacher, they laid off that music teacher clearly for retaliation. You know why? Because in his first semester, he made a grievance about his class size. And this is going to get deep, because his class size was 36 students. And in the contract, they say it can't go over 33. So this is a contract they have to follow. They wrote up and they don't want to follow. So his classes was so big, like 36. He had 3 periods that had more than 33 students. And then they wanted to just give him $400 because they said, oh, that's the ambulatory measures that they give for students who are over there. So he calls up his union guy, very good. So grateful for the union, because if he didn't have the union, they would have dragged them in earlier. That union helped a lot. That's why whenever you get a job, search for a union. Anyway, he made a grievance because they only offered him 400 when he had 3 classes. If anything, it had to be like 400, 400, 400, because let's say one teacher has 400, right? One teacher has 400. No, one teacher has more than 33. He'll get paid the same amount of ambulatory measures. I'm not even sure if it's the same, right? But he gets compensated. Let's just do compensation. He's get compensated for that one period. He has more than 33. But that's another teacher with 3 classes over 33 gets paid the same amount, gets compensated the same amount for that one teacher. So he made a grievance because they only offered him $400 for 3 classes over. And then she was like, the principal was like, that's the max we could offer. But the wording, it didn't really specify. Like, if anything, it has to be 400, 400. So 1,200 is what he should have gotten. But after negotiating, he was able to get like 300 a planning day. And they reduced his classes down, which is the most important part. So they gave him 3 methods to try to show movement, which is much better than just 400 and keeping his classes over. Because that's what the principal wanted. And ever since that happened, that principal was so hurt, so butthurt, that they began targeting my friend. No matter what it was like, whenever there was an issue, it was only that principal. Like, no other administrator had issues with that. Like, that principal would make up emails saying, oh, these students were not supposed to be in your class and you were supposed to be doing this during your prep period. And they were like, and it was only her. Only them. I'm not saying if it's here. It was only them who had the issue. Like, no other administrator. So it obviously is a pattern of retaliation. And then when it came time for his promotion, they promoted a dude who doesn't even have a music teaching credential to be band director. No shade to the guy who doesn't know, he was just like a bystander of this principal's pettiness, because he could that new guy they promoted or hired could have been like a good teammate with the band director, but he didn't really deserve the band director name. Honestly, he could have been like the visual head or stuff like that. But band directors really have to know the music. Like they need music is something that you can't give anyone. It takes years of knowledge, and that's what he wanted. He was like, I can't just work with he can't just work with anyone, because it takes so much time, especially with the help the students need. So he said that he wants to know who he's going to be working with, but they didn't want to tell him that. And in the end, she just like picked a dude who doesn't really know that much about music. And now that band is really suffering because they didn't play for football games, and then they don't have a music section at all. It's just drumline, and drumline is just rhythms and pretty easy to learn. But my friend did that for the better of the band, because he knew if they went followed his terms, he was trying to get the support and the respect that the band needs in order to succeed. If he just fell in line with the nonsense that they wanted him to do, then without the recognition, then he knew no one will respect that band, and they probably won't. And that's clearly because of the principal's pettiness. So they denied his promotion, which is another sign of retaliation. Denied his promotion, started targeting him for every little thing, and it's only that same principal. And then finally, when it came time for that layoff, he had his name on there. When honestly, they're only saving like $15,000 if they don't hire him. And plus, the thing is, when he was working there as the music guy, for some reason, the minute he got in there, the $10,000 budget they had for the band went to $200. Like, he had nothing. Like, they wanted him to fail, but he still made it work. He gave every student instruments, broken instruments back for broken instruments, just to let you know. These instruments, like, no other music teacher would know if they work or not. But that music teacher checked them to see if they worked and made sure each student had a working instrument. Like, if you put any other teacher in that position, they'd be like, man, what is this? I'm leaving this, man. I don't even know if these work. And only gave him a $200 budget where he had to buy music. He had to search online to find free music because his budget was nothing. And some of the instruments are still broken. Anyway, they lowered his budget. But I feel like they did that way one. But they lowered his budget a lot. They only gave him like $200. And then when the other teachers left, they lowered it down to like $100. So $100 to buy music. And music is expensive. Good thing there was already stuff there. So they lowered his budget. They kept targeting him. They kept saying every little thing, micromanagement. They denied his promotion. And now they put him for layoff. That has nothing to do with the budget, because you're only saving like $15,000 if you fire him or lay him off. Now, that's clearly wrongful termination retaliation because of that grievance. And he has a mountain of evidence through emails, through union dialogue. So if you lay him off, you better make sure. This is a message to the principal. When you lay him off, you better make sure you give him a good fat severance. A good fat severance settlement, because if you do not, there will be a lawsuit. He promises there will be a lawsuit, and that lawsuit, he's dropping names, he's dropping schools, and that thing is going to be way more than that $15,000 you're going to save. That lawsuit is going to be 6 figures minimum because of the mountain of evidence he has for a retaliation, wrongful termination, for a protected act. A protected act that all he just wanted to do was lower his class sizes. And all he wanted was respect that the band deserves so they can succeed. But instead of supporting the band, supporting the teacher, You were petty. The principal were petty and wanted to get rid of the teacher. And even if they do decide to try to get someone else, that music teacher is going to be so deep underwater because they're not going to have the support from the administration. So this is a message to the principal. Be better. Like, I know this might be your first year, but still, you can't act like that. You're supposed to be a professional. You're supposed to be the bigger person. And I, for the sake of the students, don't want to see their principal go into the dark side. This is not even the dark side. This is buffoonery. Like, even the principal from the last school was kind of smart. She was evil. Like, she really fell into the dark side because she cared about the graduation rates and stuff more important than the students than this principal. This principal is just a complete buffoon. Inexperienced, buffoonery, dumb decisions. And then they fall right in their face. They fall right on their face and they put the teachers under the bus because of their mistakes. So that's what the teacher is going through. This might be a long video, but remember, when he gets laid off, there will be a big wrongful termination retaliation. He has a huge evidence. So honestly, even if they do offer him like a severance, he probably would not accept it because he knows that the evidence is so strong for this case. His lawyers are just waiting, like, come on, tell us a day when they lay you off because we're ready. We're ready to keep the horses running. Get the horses running, please. Because they know, they've seen the evidence. And they thought this is a strong case. So please choose wisely. So I'm going to upload another video. This is a little long one. A lot about education. Many people might find it boring. But I'm trying to bring some more fun content. So thank you for watching. And see you in the next one.